Hello, my name is Eric. I'm with Auburn AV. To learn more about us at Auburn AV, check us out at auburnav.com. Learn more information about us, the kind of installations and integration that we do. This is the first in a series of videos for training on LSC's Clarity lighting console. It's a PC-based lighting console created by LSC Lighting Systems out of Australia. To get to them, you can go to lsclighting.com. This is their main page here. I would recommend joining the Facebook group for LSC. It's LSC users. The software creators are in that group, and it's if you run into a problem on Clarity that these videos can't help you with, they are extremely helpful on that page. And not only those guys, but everyone in that group is very knowledgeable and very helpful. Go to the products page, and we're going to click on Clarity software and Clarity for PC and Mac. It's going to take us to the main Clarity page. If you scroll down, for me it always comes up with the downloads page, but if it doesn't, you can click on this tab, and then to download the software, click on that icon right there, and it brings you to the downloads page. You've got fixture libraries and other various files that are helpful to you, but if you keep scrolling down, you'll see Clarity version 2.5.1, which is the current version. For Apple, they do have a Clarity 2.6. That's specifically for this version here. I'm using a PC, so I would click on download here, and once it's downloaded, you execute it and install, and it'll bring in a folder on the PC under programs that is titled LSC and Clarity, and in there you'll click on this little diamond. I like to drag the diamond down to my toolbar because I do use Clarity quite often, and I just like to make it easy for myself to get to. This brings up the first bar there when you start to open. This right here will auto-populate with the most recent show file you've been working on. You can also open other files that you have on your computer here. This will list all of your Clarity files in that folder. This is where you would import from another computer. So if you're working at home and you export the file to take with you on a jump drive to another computer, you would export it there, and right here's where you would import it. You just hit import, and this will pop up, and you would search for the file there. You can also click on this, and it'll give you the most recent files that you've been working on. This right here will also let you open the fixture editor and the tracking backup slave. The mode here, this is auto. It's set to auto. It'll notice if you have a console plugged in, but if you click on here, you can open it as desktop mode or one of the three big consoles that they have for Clarity. Reason you would want to open one of these is if you're programming for a 300, a 600, or a 900. If you click on this mode, it'll emulate those consoles, and it makes it a little easier for placing things for your programming. There's a quit button in case you open it by accident, and there's the new show button, which is what we're going to use today. And click on new show, and LSC is opening, and you'll see it pop up here. There we go. This here's your main page that it comes up on in your opening of a new show. Up here you've got new show, LSC Clarity, and right here you'll see demo mode. What that means is I don't have a license plugged into this laptop currently, so it is in demo mode, and that means that the master fader will dim to blackout for 10 seconds at random intervals. While Clarity is free to download and use and program on, you cannot use Clarity without a license for show, or else you'll have to deal with those blackouts. We'll go through all the headings here and just give you an overview of everything that Clarity has to offer, or how to get through it anyway. You can, onto the show file, this is where you would save or change a show if you open the wrong show by accident. Earlier I was talking about exporting a show. You would save the show and then export it, and it'll let you export the file to a USB drive, and that's what you would take with you to another console. You can merge shows. You can lock shows and unlock shows right here, and keep people from making changes to your show. You can set it as read-only. Under settings here, you have preferences, OSC settings. They do have OSC capabilities that we'll get into later videos. You can change your keyboard shortcuts. You can network devices, update your fixture libraries. They do have MIDI control available. You do have time code, which we'll get into MIDI and time code details later also. Here's your about screen. You can click on there and it'll give you your latest version that you're using, the latest library that you're using. Clarity uses the same, their library is very extensive, which we'll get into with the patching section in the next video. You can exit Clarity and you can also restart Clarity. And you can switch to the fixture editor, which is where if you don't have a profile for a fixture, you can switch to fixture editor and create a profile. This screen here is the patch screen. So you've got your 1 through 512 channels on that universe. You can create multiple universes if your license allows for more than one. Over here is where all your fixtures are listed, and your connections are listed here also. This is where you would go to add fixtures to your show. The rig view, which we'll do a video about rig view also when we're patching. Rig view can give you a stage layout of your current rig, which is what we call all of your lights. So if you have all your lights set up, and you can line them up out here as if they would be on a stage. It makes it a little easier for you to select those and start making groups later on. The programmer section is where you'll list all your groups, and it'll also have your channels listed in here, which we'll get into more once we patch and everything. This will populate, and you'll have your, say for instance, if this is a LED RGB fixture, it'll have an intensity, depending on what mode you put it in. It'll have an intensity and then your red, green, blue, and you can move those channels around. Programmer is where you do most of your programming to start out and creating of palettes. The next section is the palettes. You can create new palettes in Clarity for each fixture. This is kind of like shortcuts for your programming, where you can have a full-on button. You don't have to sit here and program and pull all the settings out. You can save each setting. If you have a color red that matches all your fixtures, you can use that red. You can have chases. These come pre-populated. They're pretty cool and pretty handy because you can change the dynamics and the amplitude of each. Control booth is where it stores all of your scenes and cue stacks. And this is where you would go to use those to coordinate it for a show, and it stores all those in here. Your performance window, we can also get into later. You can use scenes and cue stacks in here also to this is more for a punting live situation, where you can have, all of your reds here, or all of your colors here, all your movements here, and you can mix and match for different looks, mix and match them together for on the fly. This menu shows your levels of all your current active fixtures. This just shows the intensity levels of what's being outputted by Clarity, and then this shows you your master timeline. Right here's the clear all button. You can clear all. If you hit it once, it clears what you have set in Programmer. If you hit it twice, it clears all your group selections. Same thing with release. You can release groups here, clear all releases programming, release all releases scenes and cues that are currently activated. The thruster section is pretty neat. It's got a global control here set for you so you can change play rates, chase rates, crossfade chases, effects rates, and amplitude rates. I use these two a lot for your effects, which are set here in the palette. So if you're running one of these effects, you can change the effect on the fly. And they do have these pre-made effects, and also in Programmer we'll get into making our own effects in this dynamic section here. You can lock the console. This comes in helpful. You set a password here, and if you need to mess with it, you can lock the screen, full lock, type in a password and set it, and hit lock. And when you come back from wherever you needed to step away to go, you can unlock it, and no one will be able to mess with your show. this right here is your master fader. You can click on it and it'll mute. You can also use the fader there, and these buttons will be 100% on or 0% all the way off. If it's ever adjusted at all, it'll light up red and blink for you. So if you ever see that blinking, know that your master fader is either off or not all the way up. And that about does it for the introductory overview of Clarity. The next video we'll do is our patching fixtures, and then we'll move through all these headings as we go with a video for each one and get more in depth so that you can learn to use Clarity at a high level and make it do what you want to do. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.